Sometimes I just like to blame the quirky girl characters in TV shows of the early 90s as the reason why I was probably late diagnosed autistic. Hi, my name's Crystal. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and therapist in the states of California, Texas, and Maine, and I'm here to talk to you today about why autism is often missed in women. I should also just say this is general psychoeducation based on research and clinical patterns and not an evaluation of any individual viewer. This does not constitute a clinical relationship, you watching this video. This is just for educational purpose. Oh my God. Okay, do you guys remember Book It? I was a badass at Book It. Book It was absolutely my jam, and to boot, I loved Pizza Hut, so it was a marriage made in heaven. Book It was one of the reasons probably that it was not picked up as an autistic trait that I was hyperfixated on reading and I was hyperlexic, because in the 90s, there was a huge drive for getting kids to read. You remember those movie posters or those posters that used to be in the library of like celebrities reading books? There was a hard push for literacy in the 90s. And we can only pray we get back to some sort of semblance of doing that. I was the kind of kid who would have one hand on the grocery cart, book in my other hand, not even looking around, unaware of my surroundings when my mom would take us to the grocery store. That's how much I read. I read a shit ton. But of course, especially in the 90s and early 2000s even, that trait is considered really valuable. It's considered favorable. I got in trouble a lot in classes for reading underneath my desk while instruction was going on, but I could pay attention to both and I always got good grades. In grad school, I read all of the Twilight books and all of the Hunger Game books. I was in an advanced standing program that was finished in a year, and I still read both of those series during classes because I didn't have to pay attention, and I was a very fast reader, and I got an iPad for the first time when I was like 22. So I held it under the desk and would just read. These kinds of things, we consider them like favorable traits in girls and women. That's why they're not diagnosed. That's why they're not pinged as, hey, this might be a trait that we need to look at in the context of what else this person has going on. Because especially in the 90s, girls who liked different things were just considered quirky, right? Like the idea of a horse girl who was like fascinated and hyper fixated and obsessed with horses was just a little different, and which is great, which is totally fine, until that horse girl becomes an adult who arguably there are very few opportunities to turn being a horse girl into career options as an adult. And so she's working a 9 to 5 that is slowly killing her soul, and she burns out and finds it difficult to get out of bed in the morning. These are the kinds of things that, like, if they're not recognized early, just build on each other until your brain reaches a point where it can't compensate anymore. And so it refuses to function and you encounter burnout. So many women weren't recognized earlier because there were so many stereotypes about autism and what autism looked like. And still to this day, what autism is supposed to look like, right? Quote unquote. A lot of the clients that come to me and have questions about whether or not they're autistic feel a really big imposter syndrome about taking up space in a community that doesn't belong to them, but they know that they're different and they know that they struggle with so many of these traits. And reading about the late diagnosed autistic experience for women and hearing about those stories really resonates for them, and they don't really know what to do with that. But many weren't recognized earlier because doctors, clinicians, neuropsychologists were looking for a specific stereotype of autism or a specific type of autism. So the other types of autism or the way that those traits exhibited for women and girls were totally overlooked. This might be a hot take, but I think so many women are exploring late diagnosed neurodivergence, especially ADHD and autism right now, because of the absolute unbelievable cultural load that is placed, mental, emotional, that is placed on women right now, especially in the political context in which we live. I think that women are burning out and systems aren't working and systems are breaking down. And so I think that they are looking for alternative explanations as to what's going on with them. And I think they're also looking for alternative ways to provide care for themselves because they can't replenish what's being extracted from them, which is totally understandable. And the things that these systems take from us can't be replenished with a weekend of reading and taking relaxing baths. I don't even know. And so many women are talking with other women about what's going on with them and discovering, hey, I actually think that this experience that I have had throughout my entire life might actually point to neurodivergence as opposed to quote unquote regular anxiety and depression. Also, socially, women and girls were rewarded for masking their autistic traits, and societally, we are rewarded for staying quiet, playing it small, not bothering other people. So if there was something that maybe as a kid really bothered a little girl sensory wise wasn't able to articulate or say, or didn't even think it was worth mentioning if the lights in the classroom were too bright and really bothering her. I also think that a lot of women are coming to neurodivergence late in life now because our kids are getting older. And if we have kids, we're seeing those, at least for the kids, even if you don't have kids, the kids that are in your life, we're seeing more permission and more freedom to be who they are and to express themselves of, hey, going from a dimly lit interior of a house to walking outside in the sun. My kids are very vocal about, hey, the sun hurts my eyes. As a kid, I don't think I would have said, hey, the sun really hurts my eyes. I would have just squinted and gotten in the car, which I think makes us evaluate, oh, maybe it's okay to be more aware of what's going on in my body and brain and to evaluate what that's about. If you're exploring the possibility of neurodivergence for yourself, specifically late diagnosed autism, I have a resource on my website, getpsychtherapy.com, that can help walk you through as like a starter guide of like, where do I go? What do I do first? What are the kinds of things I should look for in an evaluator? Is it worth it to get evaluated? What is self-diagnosis and what does that provide to me versus getting a professional evaluation? All of those resources are listed on my website.